I am now officially a Democrat. I have changed my registration with the state of Missouri. Took me a long time to get here, and I know the Democratic Party has its own challenges, but the challenges of the Democratic Party are nothing like the intellectual disaster that is the current Republican Party. Hi everybody, Blake Ashby here. When I was growing up, I always thought of myself as a Republican, and that was based primarily on economic issues. I was a traditional moderate Republican. I believed in fiscal sanity and socially letting people do what they wanted as long as it didn't impact others. That used to be the Republican Party. The Republican Party has no connection to what I just said anymore. Unfortunately, starting with Ronald Reagan, a president I liked and respected, the Republican Party started backing away from fiscal sanity. They bought into this idea that they could create massive deficits through tax cuts, and those tax cuts would create so much new economic activity that the tax cuts would eventually pay for themselves and the budget would come back into balance. That is a cuckoo idea. It has never worked in history. It doesn't work on paper, and so our country has been running large deficits almost every year since Ronald Reagan was president. So in my old version of republicanism, nothing was more important than running a balanced budget. Budget deficits were stealing from children, morally wrong, and bad for our economy. Because if you allowed current generations to spend the money of future generations, you inevitably undermined our economy, you inevitably undermined our country. And our country finally achieved a balanced budget in the 1990s. We implemented something called pay-as-you-go that required Congress to propose a cut in funding anytime they proposed a new program. Which president was it that implemented pay-as-you-go? Which president was it that had our last balanced budget? It was Democrat Bill Clinton. And unfortunately, it was the next Republican president, George H.W. Bush, who blew up pay-as-you-go and put us on the path to the massive deficits we have right now. As much as my memory says it's the Republican Party that is more fiscally prudent, history shows that is not true. Every Democratic president from Clinton on has reduced the size of the annual budget deficit. Every Republican president from Clinton on has increased the size of the budget deficit. Unfortunately, the Republican Party has completely abandoned any notion of fiscal prudence. It is the Democratic Party that has done a better job of balancing our budget and managing our economy. So I'm all in. I'm going to do anything I can to help the Democrats take back the House and possibly the Senate in 2026, and obviously lay the groundwork for a president in 2028 who actually believes in a balanced budget, who actually understands that capitalism works better when we regulate it, and who understands that the future of America depends on our fiscal prudence now. I'm Blake Ashby. Go Democrats.